everyone. So today I'm going to show you my New England baked beans. Now, this is my grandfather's recipe, and he grew up in New England, and I believe this is probably his mother's recipe too, which she also grew up in New England. So this is about as authentic as you're going to get. Some people choose to put tomatoes in it or brown sugar, but this is how my grandfather always made them, so we always go with what we know, right? Okay, we're going to get started here. I have a pound of red kidney beans. They were soaked overnight. It's very important that you do that. I have a sauteed whole large onion. My grandfather always used a whole one, and he would put that in with the beans and, you know, let it cook that way. That's fine. My kids and I are not big onion flavor people. I don't like them raw in the slow cooker. They always taste raw to me. So that's how I do it, and my kids seem to like it better that way. But I'm sorry, Gramp. And then here I have a ham hock. Now you could use salted pork or a ham hock. If you want to keep this vegetarian, I would go with liquid smoke if I were you, if you wanted to make this recipe. Let's see. Okay, we have some ground mustard, some regular molasses, and salt and pepper. And I also have a little bit more than 2 cups of water. You're going to eyeball that. Now, most people will put them in a slow cooker. My grandfather always made them in a slow cooker. But you could put them in the oven. The only thing that you have to watch with that is they dry out really fast, so you're constantly like adding water to them, depending on how thick you want your bean. We like ours a little juicy, and that's how my grandfather always made them, so guess what? That's how I'm making them too, you know? So, we're going to start by adding the beans, okay? And I'll just put that over there. Going to add the onion. Oh, those puppies are still hot too. And let's see. I'm going to add the ham hock. Oh, actually, you know what? I should have waited on that. Oh, well. We live and learn. I'll wait until I get all the other seasonings in first, and then add it, because it will just be easier to stir up. So we'll stir those onions in. We're going to add some salt and pepper. Now, this is going to look like a lot of salt. I promise you it's not. It's a pound of beans, you know. And so it's not, and it's going to look like a lot, I promise, but believe me, it's not. That's a teaspoon. And we use regular sea salt around here. Not that it makes a lot of difference. My doctor told me that salt is salt no matter if it's sea salt or otherwise. And I added a little, a heavy, healthy teaspoon of black pepper. My grandfather, big black pepper fan. And this is my mother's father's recipe. So, my grandfather on my other side, he liked to make all kinds of, his claim to fame was probably beans and hot dogs. A lot of the times. My grandmother did the cooking over there. And let me tell you, she was one heck of a cook. So I'm gonna add all this molasses. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that the molasses goes in it. Well, now you know. Okay, so I'm gonna add all that molasses. If you don't like molasses, you could add brown sugar. This is probably, oh gosh, there's only a little tiny bit taken out of it, so I want to say, I think maybe 10 ounces of molasses for a pound of beans. You could add more, you could add less. Knowing my grandfather, he'd probably add a whole lot more. He loved molasses. Okay, so now we're just going to mix all this up. Oh man, it's smelling like my grandfather's kitchen right now.
I can smell the molasses over here.
I'm telling you, this is what you smelled when you walked into my grandparents' house, and my grandfather was making his molasses, and he'd always make his buttermilk biscuits to go with it, or doughboys. And for some of you that don't know what doughboys are, they're just fried dough, you know. And he would make those and put all kinds of molasses in there. Okay, I just put in a little bit more than 2 cups of water. You're going to add water throughout the cooking process because the beans are going to soak that water up. And now, last but not least, the ham hock. I know that makes my husband happy. And my grandfather, I know, would prefer to use salt pork. That's one of his things that he always put in his beans. But a great substitution for that is, never mind. A great substitution for that is a ham hock. So now, let's put this in my slow cooker. I'm going to plug it in this time. You don't know how many times I've made stuff where I'm like, why isn't this working? I have it up on high, it's not getting hot, and the thing's not plugged in. Either that or it's plugged in and I don't have it turned on down here. So I'm going to keep this on low. It's going to go for about between 4 to 6 hours, maybe a little bit longer. It depends on how tender you like your bean. It's all up to your flavor and how you like it. If you feel that after a couple hours of cooking the beans are just not up to your flavor wise, if it needs something or whatever, add some brown sugar, add more molasses, whatever. So I'll be back and I'll show you what this looks like and Toby will do his taste test. Hi everyone, so we're back and the beans are done. They had to take a little bit longer to cook because I used kidney beans. You could use whatever kind of bean that you want. If you're going to put them in a slow cooker, my suggestion would probably be to use a smaller bean. Now, these are inspired by my grandfather's recipe, and he's no longer with us anymore to tell me if I needed to add more of something and take out of something else. But he always used to make his beans pretty thick, and mine are kind of juicy because that's how we like them. So without further ado, I am going to give my husband a taste test. I have some over here off to the side that I have cooling because it's very hot. But this is what your beans are going to look like, depending on how thick or thin you like to have your sauce with your beans. Okay, so I'm going to take over the camera, and my husband is going to do his annual taste test. So until next time, guys, live, laugh, and love.
Alrighty. There's one thing I want to do first before I do that. That's a ham hock, boys and girls. And that stuff right there is mama slapping good. Alright, let's get after these beans. I'm a bean guy. I've grown up eating different kinds of beans all my life. This will be my first go with this particular recipe. So let's see what happens. And that little bite of ham hock right there, I see. You've got to try these. And that juice, a little bread and butter, you can do some serious sopping. Till next time, see y'all later. Adios.